9100, or visit one of his 2 locations in Lincoln or Seward and learn how you can excel in the complicated world of insurance. Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services, a trusted and well-respected representative since 1999.
Salt Mine City is your go-to brewery in the Haymarket for craft beers and great food. Enjoy a full menu of great items daily for lunch and dinner, like their Big Fatty 7-ounce hamburger or a Reuben sandwich served on Blackstone rye bread. And don't forget their beef or chicken nachos with guacamole, sour cream, jalapenos, and more. Wash it down with one of their 12 beers on tap, including the popular Single Axle Light American Lager. Salt Mine City, now open 2 p.m. Monday through Thursday and 11 a.m. Friday through Sunday at 8th and R.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is the Power Hour with 2-time national champion Todd Uhlir. Powered by Window World of Lincoln and SetTheBarSups.com.
All right. Good morning, Husker Nation. Welcome to another edition of the Power Hour with me, Todd Uhlir, 2-time national champion and host of the next 60 minutes of energy, attitude, and insight right here on 93.7 The Ticket. Getting a little feedback. Yeah. I don't know why I'm getting that. All right. Today's episode is extra special because joining me is not only a former teammate, but also one of the most dynamic motivational speakers and attitude experts in the country.
You getting that feedback?
Yeah.
Hey, it's good to be here, T. Man, just absolutely pumped to be here with you, brother. I know we'll get you know how we do this every day, Monday through Friday, man, the logistics and the acoustics and all that stuff. Are you receiving feedback from me on this at all?
All right. Yeah, we'll have to figure that out. I wonder if it's the
Who do we got back at the studio?
Ellie.
Yeah, we'll get it figured out. How about I tap out and tap back in and see if that works?
Let's try that.
Let's do that. I'll tap back out and tap back in, folks. We'll get it rolling. You know
from my end.
What's that?
You guys sound great from my end. So
I'm hearing like
what's that, Todd?
Yeah, I'm getting this double. Like
double. I'll log out and I'll come back in, Ellie. Let's try that. And Todd, you just keep rolling. I'll log.
How about now? Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you great.
Perfect. All right. I think I had something on my end actually rolling. I think I had the YouTube thing up. So, all right.
You're good. Technical difficulties. They happen all the time. That's radio.
Yeah. So, yeah, this show is proudly powered by our partners, Window World Lincoln, and the home of the strongest, most energy-efficient windows on the market, and SetTheBarSups.com. We're serious athletes and everyday champions fuel their bodies for success. Buckle up because we're about to bring the heat Husker style. And my guest today, who's jumping back in hopefully shortly, isn't just a teammate that I bled, sweat, and celebrated with. He's gone on to impact thousands of lives across the country as a motivational speaker, author, and voice of inspiration. Aaron Davis knows firsthand what it means to play for Nebraska at the highest level and then carry that championship mindset into every day. Aaron, it's an honor to have you on the show when he jumps back in.
He's just taking his sweet time. While we're waiting, Todd, got any fun plans this weekend?
Yeah, I'm going to go to the scrimmage this afternoon at 2:30 and watch the Huskers again. I've been to several of their practices. Things are looking good. Excited. We're not that far away from the first game, right? So,
are you specifically watching your son, or?
Gotta watch my son. Right?
Okay, he's back. He's back.
Yeah, he's been.
Can he hear us?
I got you. How about this?
Awesome. Actually, it was on my end, Aaron. I figured it out because you
Oh, no
popped
problem.
out and I still had it. So I must have
Ah.
been running YouTube at the same time. So that's, you know how that's
No
delayed a
worries.
little bit, right? So,
Oh, yeah.
um,
No worries. No
but
worries.
yeah, I gave you a great intro, buddy. Not only my teammate, but now a motivational speaker, author, and voice of inspiration. So, and first, I want to say guys. Aaron had back surgery on Thursday. Glad everything went well. You were up and out of there, like surgery at 7:30, out of there at 12:30, right?
Yeah, man, I was able to get out of there. I was glad. Very glad.
I well, I did the same procedure as you 2 times, so I've been through that twice, and then
Man.
10 weeks ago, I had the L5S1 fused, and so I did have to stay overnight for that one. That one was a little worse than this micro
Yeah.
discectomy.
And the fusion is a lot more invasive, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got a little scar right now, about that big.
Yeah.
My scar is about like that right now.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
So, but yeah, so thanks for joining me. Short notice, but let's jump into it. I kind of want to, before we talk about your speaking career and powerful work you do now, let's rewind. What was it like growing up, chasing the dream of playing at Nebraska?
You know what? First of all, Todd, thank you so much. Ellie, thank you so much. Todd, I'm gonna tell you, man, if it wasn't, there's very few people I would do this for.
Appreciate that.
And you are one of them, because it's but it goes to that bond though, man. If I physically, now obviously if I would have come to the station, wasn't going to be an option, but Zoom, definitely, it's a shorter show. Because like you said, man, this morning, man, this pain is no joke, man. It is no joke. So I definitely appreciate it. But you know what, man, growing up in Lincoln, only a few miles from the stadium, and Todd, I'm not even sure if you knew this, man. I grew up on 1305 North 25th Street, so right by the Salvation Army Community Center there off of 27th and Holdridge. So as a kid, I could hear the fans from my backyard, so that was something all of us in the neighborhood, that was something we strive to do, maybe one day playing there, at least just go by it. So the stadium to me, man, was always within view. I could always hear it. Anytime we'd be leaving where my dad's old church was, right over off of T Street by where the Camolo Community Center is at, you get on Vine Street and you look to the west, you could see Memorial Stadium,
Right.
the cathedral, so
Yeah.
I seen it quite often growing up, man. So it was an awesome experience growing up over there, and just being around Husker football. My oldest brother, Mark, was an equipment manager for the football team. So I've been running around that stadium since the early 80s, football camps and driving the carts for Coach McBride and the late Coach Young, the late Coach Tenniper when they had their knee surgeries when they were younger, playing, football with Coach Solich's son, Jeff Solich, Coach Samuel's nephew, Ronnie Samuel. We'd be down in the pits in the mushroom gardens down there. We had all access, man, as kids. So really grew up in that stadium and know it like the palm of my hand, man.
Yeah, that's awesome. So little different experience for me being in Battle Creek, right? Like,
Right.
I was pretty blessed. My older brother was able to walk on, and so I had some experience. But so you literally could hear the roar of the crowd on Saturdays. I was out in the backyard with the radio blasting, right?
Oh,
Like,
wow.
And I was just kind of like always thinking of myself in the game.
Yeah.
And I had 4 brothers, so we literally had a game. So it was a lot of fun, and that was really kind of my memory of chasing that that Husker dream of, can I do enough to get there and that kind of thing.
Right.
So, so we had some battles on the field together. You and I didn't, rise up on the depth chart as far as we probably would have liked to, but so we were always kind of having to battle the number 1s and number 2s.
Absolutely.
Can you share a memory from your playing days that still kind of fuels you today?
Well, I'll tell you, there's a few. The first one's a funny one, man. And I was getting into a game, and Coach Osborne is giving me the play. And Uhlir, and Coach Osborne is younger, like all of us in younger days. Coach Osborne is not a short man, he's not like huge, but he's not short. Because Coach is, how tall would you say Coach was in his prime when we were there? 6 what?
6'2", 6'3", yeah.
Yeah, he was at least 6'3", 6'2" and a half, 6'3". Anyway, he's giving me this play, Euler, and I'm looking at him, looking at him, and I'm thinking, I'm repeating it to myself all the way to the middle of the field. And I give the play to the late Brooke Behringer, God rest his soul. And Brooke Behringer looks at me and he goes, AD, we don't have that play. AD, we don't have that play.
Oh, no.
And so Brooke, thank God, he bails me out. He audibles out of it. And I get to the sideline, and Coach just looked at me and goes, AD, you didn't know the play, did you? I said, no. And I knew the play, but I just gave it the – I mean, because you're nervous. I twist it all up. So we still tease about that one. Probably the most memorable, just having my one and only catch at Nebraska, and Coach Osborne teased me about that, and Coach Brown does too. But I would also say, Euler, just the camaraderie, man. Those are two plays that stick out. But just, as you know, the brotherhood. Whether you were a bench warmer like me or an All-American, as you know, and we still talk to all of us still, not all of us, of course, but, a lot of us still keep in touch with each other today because, you have a team of 130. There's some guys you don't even really know that well. I mean, that's just a reality, especially if they're on the opposite side of the ball, but you know of each other. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of those relationships, me and you included, speaking right here 30 plus years later, there was those lifelong relationships that are forged. And that's what makes it special, man, is the relationships you have, the battles you went through, and what it does for you as a man, as a father, just as a person.
So speaking of the relationships, I was literally on the phone with Michael Booker this morning. And their first football game, he's coaching down in the Nashville area, a little north of Nashville. He actually is. He will have to coach against my nephew's team.
Oh, wow.
My little brother Tyrone's. But their first game is Friday, the 22nd.
Okay.
Myself and my four brothers are all flying into three brothers. We're flying in. Tyrone lives there.
Oh,
and
wow.
his boys' first game is on Thursday night. So Booker and I'm going to go. I get to stand on the sideline and be at Booker's first football game this season on the 22nd. So it's those things. You're right. Like that's what I took from it the most was the brotherhood of hey, we were there, we bled together, we sweat together, and we celebrated together. But now football's over, right? Like now it's awesome because we support each other on all of our endeavors, which is a lot of fun. But it's really about the relationships, and I think my son is there now. And I think he's seeing the light that it is about the relationship.
That's right.
So it's crazy. Michael Booker Jr. and my son are in the same room, right? Like they're linebackers together, and Book and I were talking about that this morning, and it's just really awesome to be a part of.
You think about that, man, and it shows you the ecosystem that we live in as former athletes, and it shows you how sports is such a great uniter. It's such a great way to bring people together. You got a kid, Michael Booker, that grew up in San Diego. You got a guy like you that grew up in Battle Creek, Nebraska, polar opposite communities, experiences, etc. But yet, through a game and through relationships, that's my brother. That's my boy. So that's the beauty of athletics in its purest form, man.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. So so now you become known as the attitude expert. Love following your stuff. Was there a moment in your playing or personal life when you realized like attitude was going to be your superpower?
Todd, a lot of it came from my dad. As far as attitude, I grew up in a house. There were 6 kids. I was the youngest out of 6, 4 boys, 2 girls. And my father, we didn't have a lot of money growing up. My dad was a janitor. He cleaned a place, 2 big buildings, 2 big businesses here in town that are no longer here. There's a place called Pegler and Cisco food distribution. And then there was Weaver's Potato Chip Factory. You may have remembered growing up eating Weaver's potato chips. But my father had just an incredible work ethic. He was, and his attitude was amazing, and as a janitor, and he also eventually became a pastor of a very small church that still goes on to this day. In fact, my fraternity brother is a pastor at my dad's former church that my dad started. Um, his attitude, even towards what he did every day, some society may look at a guy who goes and cleans bathrooms and toilets and wash down windows and empties ashtrays when you can smoke at your office during those times as, a lower tier job. My father, his attitude towards it was always one of pride, one of passion. And my father would always tell us, just because we clean a mess, we don't have to look a mess. So his pants were always ironed, his shoes were always taken care of, didn't have spills and stuff. I'm not saying it's wrong if you do, but my father was always meticulous. And he would say, son, he goes, how you think about what you do? He goes, I just don't clean the place. He goes, I want to make sure that these buildings are presentable to increase the revenue of the people I work for. So that's how he looked at it. He goes, I played an integral part, of making sure this building is in great shape and it's clean to where it looks great for potential customers and current customers. But so it was the attitude he took towards it, and he goes, it's not what you do, but it's how you do it. He would always say, son, it's not what you do, it's how you do it. And he goes, and it starts with your attitude. And so that always stuck with me, man. And my dad would be up anywhere between 4 and 4:30, in the morning to go and get ready to clean before. And he would finish up the things he was doing the night before and make sure everything was taken care of when those people came in their offices in the morning. And then he'd get a jump start. He'd go there about 5:30 when people were getting off, get a jump start in both of those buildings, and the next morning go back and finish up anything that needed to be taken care of. But the attitude part it's always come from my pops, man.
Yeah, that's awesome. So Husker fans obviously love hearing, those lessons that we got on the field and how they translate into real life. What was the first time you noticed that what we learned as teammates showed up off the field in a big way?
Oh man, there's a lot of those examples. I mean,
right.
A lot of those. One that I would say though is I remember when we first checked in. It was me, Riley Washington, was with us. Willis Brown eventually got hurt. He was with us. Brendan Holbein was with that class too, as far as receivers. Johnny Vedral was part of that not rookie class, but that was that freshman class of receivers. The ability to be able to change quickly. You have to adjust quickly. And I think I look back at yourself, Uhlir, myself, and I'm not saying everybody does it, but we're capable of doing it. Learning how to pivot and adjust quickly. Because I remember that first day of practice, and remember back in those days, if there were guys that were JUCOs, they also checked in the same day as a freshman. So I go from, going against guys that I was used to in high school to Kareem Moss and Toby Wright, Javen Wright's dad. Javen Wright, who's on the team right now with your son.
Yeah.
Kareem Moss, of course. Toby Wright played for I don't know how many years in the pros. I couldn't get off the line of scrimmage. I could not get off the line of scrimmage as far as on our receiving drills. And Coach Brown was teasing us. But at the same time saying, what are we doing? Because we'd watch the film after the first day of practice when us freshmen checked in. We were going against, those guys. And I was getting jammed up, beat up, and Coach Brown goes in the film session, beat me, kick me, stomp me. Beat me, kick me, stomp me. Because I couldn't get off the line of scrimmage. But we were able to adjust and learn how quickly, because if you didn't adjust quickly, you weren't going to make it. You just simply couldn't be out there. So I think the ability to learn quickly and to adjust was a huge trait that has helped me out in my life today. And understanding that change is a part of the game. And you can't always have a conference call or a staff meeting to make a change. Because as you know, Todd, playing in the backfield, me as a receiver, sometimes they would check out of that audible. You change within half a second. It's like check, two opposite, check, two opposite. You didn't have time to say, well, I don't understand what I feel about that play. No, it didn't matter what you felt about that play. The play had changed.
Yeah.
So I would say one of the biggest things, man, obviously besides mental toughness, because that's number one. But as far as stories go, that ability to change quickly and just being mentally tough and having resolve and to be resilient.
Yeah, I think mentally tough is something you better have if you're going to go play college football. I rushed for over 2,800 yards and 49 touchdowns my senior year.
You still got the record, don't you?
I still got a couple records, but
yeah.
It was hard to get to the line of scrimmage. So I know what you're saying. I struggle, and you go through that imposter syndrome for a while, right? Like,
absolutely.
Do I belong here? And I can tell you, as a guy that was a year older than me, and you've gone through it, always seeing your attitude was something that kept me from literally quitting. Like, I wanted to quit every Tuesday and Wednesday. It was full pads.
Oh yeah,
right?
absolutely.
I wanted to quit every Tuesday and Wednesday. It was. I was scout team running back at the run station. It was horrible.
Not the run station at that.
Yeah, me and Scott Davenport, Ocock Diesel, and
yes,
it was brutal. And I thought every Tuesday night I wanted to quit, and here'd be Aaron all happy. I'm like, this dude's happy. Like,
well, I wasn't getting hit nearly as much as you either.
Yeah, it was. And then every Wednesday night I was like, I made it. Like, and literally, you talk about your dad being yours. My mom was kind of that way, right? Like, she's like, just quit tomorrow. Just quit tomorrow. Get through today, quit tomorrow. And that's kind of how I coach now too. Is like, hey, just don't quit today, quit tomorrow, right? And just give yourself one more day to do the work, right? And it's amazing. I love the word pivot because you have to, right? Like, I was running a Burger King. I was in the franchise world, and I'm like, this is not fulfilling whatsoever. I want to, I love fitness. I love nutrition. I love supplementation. I want to get into the mindset coaching. And, I pivoted back in 2012 and kind of chased that, my dream of being a leader of men. And we built that group inside the STB locker room. It's a lot of fun. So, all right, I think we got to go to break here shortly. So let's do this. All right. This is some powerful stuff, and I know Husker Nation is nodding along because they've lived those Saturdays right with us. What I love is how those lessons of grit, mindset, and attitude don't just belong on the field. They're for everyday life, and that's what the Power Hour is all about. We're just getting started with Aaron Davis, and trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming up next. But first, this segment's been proudly brought to you by Window World of Lincoln, the #1 windows, siding, and doors. Just like Huskers build with strength and durability, Window World builds for life. Stick with us. More with Aaron Davis when we come back on the Power Hour on 93.7 The Ticket.
Play ball!
Haymarket Park is buzzing with excitement this summer. Grab your crew and get in on the fun. Be sure to catch all the daily specials and promotions this season, like Thirsty Thursday, Fireworks Friday, Souvenir Saturday, Family Fun Day Sunday, plus special events and discounts all summer long. Don't miss out on the action as the Lincoln Salt Dogs take on their biggest rivals and knock the ball out of the park. Visit saltdogs.com and see this week's promotions and grab your tickets.
Select Plumbing and Utility has been serving Lincoln and the surrounding area for 14 years, and they're not slowing down. Select Plumbing and Utility handles all your plumbing needs, from faucets and water heaters to full renovations, and they can even help with your heating and cooling needs. They're also Lincoln's underground experts, repairing and replacing broken underground water and sewer lines since day one. Contact Select Plumbing and Utility today at 402-560-6197, assuring excellence in every situation, opportunity, and challenge. That's 402-560-6197.
When you're outdoors beneath Nebraska skies, adventure comes in all sizes. From quick escapes and long weekends to true off-the-grid retreats. Paddle, hike, camp, explore. Whether you have a few hours or a few days, we'll guide you to a state park or recreation area that's a perfect fit. Start your next adventure today at yournebraskaparks.com. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Load up on meat and more this spring at The Mercado by Certified Piedmontese, with great selections of T-bones, tomahawks, ribeyes, filet mignon, brisket, sirloin, and so much more. The Mercado has locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, where you can have $2 draft beer every Thursday night from 4 to 8 p.m. and half-price espresso drinks on Fridays from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town. Schwizo Construction is now hiring for skilled craftsmen, steel erectors, concrete workers, and general laborers. Schwizo Construction offers great benefits like premium wages, health and dental insurance, paid holidays and vacation, 401k with company match, life insurance, and disability insurance. They pride themselves on a legacy of 40 years built on integrity and trust. Joining their team means becoming part of a family that values hard work, dedication, and mutual respect. Apply today at schwizo.com. That's SCHWISOW.com.
Lincoln's go-to for fun isn't new. It's a place that's been a staple of the city for years and is only getting better. Matson's Bowling and Billiards always has open bowling available with no long lines, unlike other centers. They have live music almost every weekend and great food at each bar and lounge, with seating for 150 people. They have popular meals like the EJ Burger, pizza for the whole family, and famous EJ's Wings. Contact Sarah to book a party for friends, coworkers, or family at Matson's Bowling and Billiards, just south of 48th and Holdridge.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe. Back to the Power Hour with Todd Uhlir on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back to the Power Hour with Todd Uhlir here on 93.7 The Ticket. And folks, we are fired up today. We've got my former teammate and powerhouse speaker, Aaron Davis, live, and we're diving deep into lessons that last far beyond the football field. This segment is brought to you by setthebarsubs.com, your go-to for the fuel you need to perform at your best every single day, whether it's in the gym, at work, or chasing your dreams. Setthebarsubs.com helps you stay sharp, strong, and ready. Now, Aaron, you've built a powerful career as a motivational speaker and leader after football. Let's dig into that. How did you make that leap from Husker football to building a platform that inspires so many today?
Heck, I was just trying to get back up the stairs just right now.
Yeah,
Todd, you got to get up every 25, 30 minutes just to get it moving again and just keep it going. But you know what? It's funny, but at the same time, it's still realistic in that just had to take one step at a time. It's the same pivot I had to make. Coach Osborne and Coach Brown were huge. And of course, my father, from transitioning to post-college life. And that's a mistake that there's mistakes that a lot of guys don't make because they don't know what to do. This is literally figuratively speaking right here, when the lights go out, and when the lights go out, a lot of guys don't know how to function, myself included. It's an adjustment, man. When you're so regimented, as you know, Uhlir, we knew what our day was like down to the minute for the most part. You get up and there was practice, there was class. You'd go to the back to the training table, you eat, you'd have class again, then you'd have film sessions start like at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. We were in film, go out to practice, you get done with practice. If you had treatment, you had treatment. Then you had study halls as a freshman, you had study hall. Then you repeat that same thing over again. So we were very regimented. And if you don't keep that same type of discipline post-college, you'll find yourself with a lot of time on your hands and not knowing what to do with it. So if you don't, that vacuum will fill itself if you don't, with things that are constructive, with things that are pushing you forward. And that was something I didn't always do well in. There's still times that if I'm not careful, I can find myself deviating from that discipline of schedule. But when I first left University of Nebraska, man, I started working for a youth organization called Campus Life Youth for Christ. And that was a lot of fun, working with young people, still using athletics, if you would, as that foundation. Then I got into sales with the Dale Carnegie Corporation. And if you've not read that book, it's been around forever, since like the 1930s, How to Win Friends and Influence People. an awesome read, man. And I was doing sales for them. And I started doing the speaking because Coach Brown asked me to come speak with him for a group, an FCA group out in Seward. I'm like, speak about what? I was like, dude, I was like 80th string wide receiver. What am I going to talk to them about? He was like, well, you're part of a championship team and a championship culture, and just how that was huge as far as, football, your faith, and just as a person. And so I did it out in Seward, Nebraska. I'll never forget that first talk. I was at a pavilion out there, and Todd, I had a blast just sharing with people. And it just kind of grew from there. And Coach Osborne and Coach Brown helped me on the business side of it, how to set it up. A very good friend of mine that is still a very good friend of mine these days, like a mentor. His name is Max Callan. He's retired now, but he was with a financial firm there in town called Smith Hayes. That's still it's still downtown. They've been bought out, I believe. But Smith Hayes and Tom Smith, a former Husker back in the 60s, was one of the founders of that. Was another gentleman, so those I had some great mentors, some great tutelage from those guys, and the speaking business just grew, man. But it always stuck around attitude. That Todd, me and you played with a lot of guys and been around a lot of people, guys and gals. To throw football out of it, you've hired a lot of people in your store ownership days, and still do. They had all the talent, all the business acumen, but they had a horrible attitude. So I always say attitude is the only thing, but it's the main thing. It's not the only thing. It's the main thing. Todd, when you were healthy, you beat out guys that were probably more talented than you, but your come to work lunch pail mentality, your attitude, that was the difference maker, man. And so you can go in any stretch or any space or any career. We can see it in all sports. There are a lot of guys and gals that had all the talent in the world, but their attitude sucked. So it disqualified them. You couldn't coach them, you couldn't play with them, and we hear this a lot. Oh, he's a good locker room guy. Well, we know what that means. Their attitude is great.
Yeah.
They might not even be 3 deep on the depth chart, but they constantly stick around an organization because they're great for an organization. A positive attitude, a championship mindset is infectious. So your team brass and team administrators, they want to keep guys and girls like that around because they're good for the organization and good for the team. Now, the polar opposite, there could be a guy or girl that's got all the talent in the world, but their attitude is so negative, it's toxic. And me and you both know negative people are good recruiters because they just sow seeds of negativity, seeds of doubt, seeds of discontent. And that becomes infectious too. And that's why they usually don't last at places very long, because you start saying, I can't afford to keep this person here. Although they have all the talent, it's sabotaging everything else they do good. So the attitude is the difference maker, man.
Yeah, and I think we've seen that in NFL locker rooms because it's a lot more prevalent, right? Like,
absolutely.
I'm trying to think of the guy. He was at the Eagles, went to the 49ers. I can't think. He was a wide receiver. I can't think of his name. Terrence? I can't remember, but
I know who you're talking about.
Terrell Owens.
Oh yeah, everywhere, everywhere.
Yeah, like just absolutely toxic, right?
Yeah, all the talent in the world. Cowboys, Dallas, Philly, San Fran. I mean, the dude was just a phenom physically, but was just so toxic as far as attitude, man.
Yeah. All right. So you've spoken to Fortune 500 companies, schools, athletic teams, all kinds of audiences. How do you connect with people across such different walks of life?
I would say, Todd, the biggest thing is transparency. Be transparent and speak to them where they're at. My talk is going to, content-wise, is going to be somewhat the same for each one, but at that stage in life. When I'm speaking to high school kids, and I don't do as much of those anymore, but I still do a number of those through my agent out in California, Chris Fisher. And he's the one that really got me on the map. I sent him an old VHS tape over 25 years ago when I first got started in this thing, man. And it was, I look back at that, I'm like, why in the world did he even give me a shot? Well, his grandparents are from Nebraska. So he was always a Husker fan, even though he lived out in Oakland, in Dansville area. And he goes, man, I seen the talent, blah, blah, blah. And I'm grateful. And I thank God that he saw something I didn't see in myself. But I speak to them on the level they're at. I talk about the importance of choices when I speak to high school and college kids. When I get to the corporate world, but it's still just about the choice of attitude when I get in the corporate sector. So and what I try to do, Todd, is always come out swinging. I don't come out, hey, it's great to be here today. You do that with high school kids, you're really going to lose them.
Yeah.
You're going to lose them quick. So I come out swinging right away in regards to what audience is. I start with a story, but I try to be transparent, even about my own struggles, man, and my own times where I've fallen on my face, self-inflicted wounds that I've caused myself. And that's what they want. They want you to be real with them, man. Be real, be transparent, and speak from the heart. Because if you speak from your heart, you'll reach their hearts. And that's what I try to do when I'm out there. I don't try to kill them with PowerPoints. I have those, but they're mostly just pictures. You know what I'm saying? And I explain a story behind the picture. You think about what made Coach Osborne, what makes him so effective with us. He shared a lot of stories with us, man. He showed there was a lot of cautionary tales that he shared with us, but there was also a lot of inspirational stories he shared with us of guys and gals that overcame things, So if you can speak if you can speak from your heart to their hearts, you'll get some results that way. So that's what I try and do.
I still, people always ask, like, you played for Osborne, like, some of my, and he was not the rah-rah guy.
No.
And to this day, it's so hard. I don't know how you explain it to people, but what you just said was really good, because I'm going to probably steal that from you, because I really don't know how to explain. Like, to this day, I would run through a brick wall for at least. Well, I probably can't run through a brick wall anymore.
Me either.
I used to be able to, maybe. But I mean, if he called me, I would be there, right?
Absolutely.
And in today's coaching carousel, kind of, not a lot of guys stick around for a long time, at least if they're not winning, right? How much different do you think it is for these head coaches and assistant coaches? I've been to practices. There's a lot of staff. Like, we didn't have that. Like, we didn't have that much staff, right? We had more players, less staff, and to be real honest, in my personal opinion, we did more.
More with less.
And as a head coach today, I love Matt Rule and what he's doing. I really feel we have the leaders on the sidelines.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have the leaders on the field now? Right? Do we have a guy that can lead us like Tommy Frazier did? Right? Do we have a guy that can lead us on defense the way an Ed Stewart did, or somebody like that? Or do we have those guys? And how different college football is today versus when we played?
I think today's coaches, obviously times have changed dramatically. As we know, the NCAA passed rules earlier this year to where there's basically an unlimited number of coaches you can have for the most part, with different titles and things of that nature. The number one thing, obviously, the money has grown, which has afforded more opportunities for coaching staffs, et cetera. I think right now more than ever, relationships are the key. You got to recruit your players every day, every practice, every interaction, because the door for them to exit is so wide open with little or no repercussions as far as that goes. I mean, the NCAA, obviously, as you know, they passed to where there's unlimited transfers now. You can do that. Your 2 years of JUCO no longer count against your overall clock as far as eligibility now. Of course, we know about the NIL, how that has changed things. With all that being said, relationships with your guys are extremely important. And I would say this even as well, Uhlir, you know this as well. When you have people talk about the word culture all the time, I think it's a word that's overused a lot. Not the importance of the word, but I say the definition of what culture really is. A strong culture is when everybody in the locker room or company or organization knows the mission and they're walking to the beat of the same drum. And different people, but same mission. Different personalities, same mission. But when the thing that separates great teams like we had from good teams is when you have locker room accountability. Todd, you didn't want to let Corey Schlesinger down. You didn't want to let Makovica down, and they didn't want to let you down. So you think about our Unity Council. Right. Todd, you know as well as I do. You sure as hell didn't want to stand in front of those guys on a Thursday night or a Wednesday night meeting, because you acquired. That's right. And that was enough, wasn't it? Because you accrued enough points in the wrong type of points, whether it was class, off the field, or whatever it may have been. You didn't want to stand in front of your peers, that Supreme Court of your peers, if you would, on an evening and have to answer them. Answering your coach was one thing. Of course, we paid great homage to our position coaches. But man, when you had to answer to the guys that you were in the war with, in the locker rooms with, and lifting with, when they looked at you and put their head down, you knew you messed up. Yeah. And that's what's going to be more important for Nebraska and all teams as far as that goes. When you have locker room accountability, that's way more than a coach barking down your face. You know, when your peers who you hang with, live with, chill with, when they're disappointed in you, that's a whole different type of disappointment. And when you can have locker room led teams to where they hold each other to a different standard, even their coaches do, you'll have magical runs like we did in the 90s. You look at Alabama or the great teams that we've seen recently. All of those teams, I know this for a fact, and you do as well, they hold each other accountable peer to peer. And when you can have peer to peer accountability, I don't care if it's in a locker room or a boardroom, when you have that peer to peer accountability, you can accomplish some amazing things.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that was probably the magic, right?
It was.
And people always, we would die for each other, literally die for each other.
Absolutely.
You know, I think too with the NIL comes some, knowing what I know about the program a little bit is there's some resentment between players, this guy's getting paid this. Funny thing is, people ask me, I don't know if they ask you, man, if NIL would have been around when you were playing, I said, I still would have got nothing. So yeah, I'm not too worried about that. But yeah, it's interesting to have that dynamic now in a locker room when and I didn't play in the pros, and neither did you, but we know lots of guys that did, and they knew what their teammates were making, and we're men, right? Like, we're human. There is some of that feeling like, why is that guy getting that and I'm only getting this? Right. And so coaches have to work around that now. Like, that dynamic in itself has got to be very, very difficult. And like you said, having to recruit these kids every single day. Every day. It's to me, I love football. I would love to coach football, and I coached a lot. Like, I coached my son growing up, right?
Yeah.
But I stopped at sixth grade was it. I let him go to junior high. I didn't talk to the coaches. I didn't interfere. Yeah. I just said, do with him what you need to do. And I would have loved to have coached him because I think he would have broke my records had I given him the ball. But it's interesting to me. I don't think you could, and people are like, man, these guys are getting paid all this money to coach. And I know some personalities out there that are just, we're paying them this much. How can they not get this done? Right. You hear it a lot. At the same point, you couldn't pay me enough to do it right now.
No.
You couldn't pay me enough to do that. So, all right, well, we're going to go to our break, and this has been some powerful stuff right here with Aaron Davis from Husker football, the boardrooms and locker rooms across country. The lessons he's sharing are game-changing, and that's what this show is all about, building mindset, resilience, and taking your life to the next level. This segment of the Power Hour is proudly brought to you by Window World of Lincoln, the clear choice for quality windows and doors that make your home as strong and dependable as the black shirt defense. We'll be right back to wrap things up with more from Aaron. So don't go anywhere. You're listening to the Power Hour on 93.7 The Ticket.
Have you been injured in an accident and don't know where to turn? You need an attorney you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you've been injured, we want to help you. Liberty Law's experienced attorneys are in pursuit of justice for those injured. Call Liberty Law Group and find out how we can help get you the compensation you deserve. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. 877-42-LIBERTY. Liberty Law Group. Trial attorneys you can trust.
Rick Heyman here from Starter Heyman Jewelers. I want to personally thank our great customers for voting us once again the best of Lincoln. At the same time, we're celebrating our 120th year in business in the great state of Nebraska. Visit us at South Point, Grand Island, and the Outlet in downtown Lincoln. Visit us today at SarterHeyman.com.
Lincoln's go-to for fun isn't new. It's a place that's been a staple of the city for years and is only getting better. Matson's Bowling and Billiards always has open bowling available with no long lines, unlike other centers. They have live music almost every weekend and Jay's Bar and Lounge. Seating for 150 people. They have popular meals like the EJ Burger, pizza for the whole family, and famous EJ's Wings. Contact Sarah to book a party for friends, coworkers, or family at Matson's Bowling and Billiards, just south of 48th and Holdridge.
If the power is out, keep your fridge and freezer closed. Perishable food lasts 4 hours in the fridge, and frozen food lasts up to 2 days if it stays below 40 degrees. See more tips at les.com/safety.
Saturday. Eagle Raceway is open for a full season of dirt track racing action every Saturday night. Don't miss the epic battles on the high banks of Eagle Raceway each Saturday between the Nebraska Septic Sprint Cars, Nebraska Lottery Modifieds, Avid Realty Sport Mods, Valentino's Hobby Stocks, and A1 Iron Stock Cars. Let's go racing. Eagle Raceway, just 10 miles east of Lincoln on O Street. Check out the full schedule at eagleraceway.com.
Hi, it's Charlie Stone and Andy Goodyear of Honda of Lincoln with more exciting news for area car buyers.
Charlie, it's just announced that Honda of Lincoln has won 3 of the Lincoln Journal-Star's Lincoln Choice Awards: Best New Car Dealer, Best Auto Repair, and Best Place to Get Your Oil Changed.
Wow, that's great, Andy. Anything else?
Yes, we were runner-up for Best Pre-Owned Dealer and Best Tire Dealer. A lot of people don't understand that we do sell tires here.
Very exciting, Andy. Why do you think your dealership is winning so many awards?
Charlie, we simply say it's the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business.
Looks like Honda of Lincoln is the great news headquarters for Lincoln.
Yes, and even all of Nebraska, we are also announcing that Honda of Lincoln's the only dealer in the state of Nebraska to win the prestigious Honda President's Award for 2024.
Honda of Lincoln, Nebraska's #1 volume Honda dealer, 27th and Yankee Hill Road, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
Mike, the insurance company wants us to replace the roof.
Wait, what? I thought everything was fine.
Yeah, it says right here our roof is too old and they won't be able to cover us anymore.
I guess it is 15 years old. Hi, I'm Austin with Roofing Service Company. We help homeowners with their roofing and siding projects. Financing options are available, and we can get you under a new roof no time at all. If this sounds like you, visit roofingservicecompany.com. That is roofingservicecompany.com.
Select Plumbing and Utility has been serving Lincoln and the surrounding area for 14 years, and they're not slowing down. Select Plumbing and Utility handles all your plumbing needs, from faucets and water heaters to full renovations, and they can even help with your heating and cooling needs. They're also Lincoln's underground experts, repairing and replacing broken underground water and sewer lines since day one. Contact Select Plumbing and Utility today at 402-560-6197, assuring excellence in every situation, opportunity, and challenge. That's 402-560-6197.
What's better than supporting your favorite radio station and eating delicious Nebraska-made products? Smoking Gun Jerky of Nebraska wants to highlight you, the listener, on the 93.7 The Ticket Wall of Fame at the store. Stop by the store at 48th and R in Lincoln and see their huge variety of small batch gourmet jerky. Or if you're not in the area and want to try some, go to smokinggunjerky.com and enter code EARLY for 10% off your purchase. It's the ultimate low-calorie, high-protein snack at Smoking Gun Jerky of Nebraska.
Old School with Foreman and Orman.
Any tips for a dad who just volunteered to be a YMCA flag football coach less than a week before the season started because no one else had volunteered to coach the 5th graders up to that point?
Tylenol for your headache.
Put some in your cup. Put some in your cup, and make sure your contract is 1 year only.
Medicate, bro.
Frank Reich. Frank Reich at Stanford.
Yep.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize to participate in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the KNTK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeited. Thank you for participating in our contests, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
Back to the Power Hour with Todd Uhlir on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back to the Power Hour. This final segment is brought to you by Lactigo, the game-changing gel that helps you recover faster, perform longer, and push past limits. Head to lactigo.com, use code SETTHEBAR, and save 10% on your first order. Now let's wrap things up with Darren Davis. How you doing, buddy? You hanging in there?
Yeah. Hey, you saw my face. I
know that pain. I know that pain.
Yeah.
So if you've shared a lot of wisdom today, if you could leave our listeners with one piece of advice to carry into their week, what would it be?
I would say this, first of all, man, Todd, again, brother, love you, appreciate you, man. I appreciate you for just helping me through prepping for this surgery from a mental standpoint. You didn't tell me about the second day, though. I mean, the third day, because I woke up this morning. First of all, sleeping sucks because you can't get comfortable. But we'll talk more about that, too. But I appreciate you, man, because this is definitely helped me out quite a bit. One thing that I always try to leave with people is reminding them it's your attitude, it's your choice. You can see the moniker back here. It's always your choice. You have a choice of how you respond to things. And one thing that I always try to share is the AOE, attitude over everything formula. And it's just 4 A's. It's simple. When you find yourself in a crappy place or a crappy situation or the attitude, the first thing I always say is you got to be aware of, acknowledge it, aware and acknowledge. Be aware that this is okay. Yes, I'm in a bad spot right now. Next thing you have to do is assess it. Okay. How did I get here? You got to look at the road. How did I get here? And then you go about that. So first you got to be acknowledge, be aware, assess it. And then the third thing you got to do is go get advice. Whether it's a podcast, whether it's through a coach, whether it's somebody at your job, a clergyman, a priest, a pastor, get some advice, read a book. We don't have all the answers. None of us do. Todd, when you first started franchising with your Burger Kings, they had franchisors who taught you, how to run the business, how to be successful. So you wouldn't got that advice. You give out advice now on health and nutrition and mindset, but you had mentors that helped you become the advice giver because you had to get it. The fourth spot, Todd, is where people usually stop. Take action. You got to take action. Todd, I knew my back was jacked up. I had to acknowledge the fact I got a herniated disc. I could ignore it all I wanted to. You could a substance problem, a food problem, a financial problem. If you don't acknowledge it, nothing's going to change. So that's great. You acknowledge it, then you assess where am I at? How deep am I in the hole financially? How bad is the situation? Whatever it may be. Thirdly, yes, I'm going to get the advice, whether that's a financial advisor, that's a coach, whether that's a clergyman. But then you have to go take action. That's where people miss the boat. They get all those first three, but then they stop at taking action or attack. So you got to go do that.
I always say so many guys are sitting on the sidelines. They're watching, they're watching the game of life go by.
That's right.
And they should be in the game, right?
That's right.
And so that's kind of how I always put that out to my following is, why are you sitting on the sideline watching me do this?
Absolutely.
I just completed 2,100 days in a row
that is so awesome.
At least 20 minutes. And they weren't all awesome, spectacular, crushed it workouts. They were just done, right?
Yeah.
And I'm playing in the game.
That's right.
And before that, I wasn't. I was a spectator just like everybody else, right? And we have so many spectators that have the power within them to do some great things if they just take the action, right?
That's right.
Get in the game.
That's right.
And here's the deal. You're going to screw up. You're going to fail.
Oh, big time.
And I have tremendously in a lot of different areas of my life, right?
I'm right with you.
But each time I learned from it and I got a little bit better from it, right? So
that's right.
All right. So what's next for you, man? Any big projects? Speaking, obviously, recovery.
Yeah,
bro, you'll be 100% at 6 weeks. I promise you. You'll feel great at 6 weeks. Week
You know
one
what?
is rough.
It's rough. And you know what, Todd? What I've been doing, man, I'll go on my 10-minute walk when we're done with this. And I do 2 of those a day, like you told me, my doctor. And I'm really using this time. I don't want to let any experience go wasted. Even the ones that suck. This sucks. There's nothing fun about this, man. This hurts like hell, bro. You know? But it's kind of like God saying, what are you going to use with this for? I've already been jotting notes in my head. And, because as you know, Todd, you have to stand up differently. You have to move differently. But it deals with change. But it shows you how we can get so fixed and just hop in different patterns when you just go. But when it comes to change, it's not always easy. But you have to learn to adapt. So if anything, I'm learning how to adapt right now. And also, you said this to me, because AD, don't rush back. You got to slow down in order to get better. And a lot of times it's the same thing in life. And you think about the golf game. Sometimes slowing down speeds you up.
Right.
And it's the same thing through this process to where I'm using this time. Again, it comes to the mindset, the attitude. I said, you know what? The mindset and the attitude I'm going to have towards this surgery is to get better. Is to get better because I'm forced to slow down. I don't have a choice. Now, I could try, but I'm just going to re-injure myself and be worse than I was before I even started, So it's forced me to slow down and really take some inventory and some things and just learn the lessons, man, through this and learn different lifelong points through this. So pain is always a teacher if we allow it to be, man.
Yeah, and I can tell you do not want to get to where you need to fuse it, buddy. I promise you, because I had 6 weeks of what you're going to have for about a week. Yeah, it was brutal. Feel great now. In fact, I'm launching a new program September 1st. Upper body domination inside of our locker room group. So
I can't wait to get a piece of that. And one thing I'm working on, Todd, too, I'll say this real quick.
Yeah.
I have a new book that'll be coming out this fall, awesome. Attitude Over Everything. That'll be out. A very digestible book. I want to make it to where even the non-reader, what I mean by someone who's not a big reader all the time, because there's all sorts, but I want to make it about 60 pages or less, actually. Might go a little longer, because I had a bigger one. It's like, you know what? I want to make a condensed form to where it's almost like a field guide. You can just stuff in your pocket to where it's easily digestible like that.
Awesome. And if people want to find out more about you, where do they go? Like if they want to...
If you go to aarondavis.co, aarondavis.co, that's my website. Awesome. Obviously on the social handles, Instagram, X, Facebook, if you type in Aaron Davis, it's on there as well.
Awesome. All right. That's going to do it for this week's edition of the Power Hour. Huge thanks to our guest, Aaron Davis, for bringing the heat today.
Thanks, Ellie. Thanks, Todd.
And, of course, our incredible sponsors, Win the World of Lincoln, Set the Bar Sups, and Lactigo.com. So real quick, next Saturday, we've got a truly special thing. We got a 2-hour Power Hour from 8 to 10 a.m. with all 5 of the Uhlir brothers live.
Oh, that's going to be great.
Plus some surprise guests you won't want to miss. So mark your calendar, set your alarms. All my brothers are like, who's up at 8 a.m. on a Saturday? I'm like, but guys, so this is going to be the first time all 5 of us have been together since, I believe, my daughter's wedding in 2019. And we're going to be down there in Nashville. So it's going to be really fun. So until then, keep chasing greatness, and we'll see you next week on the Power Hour. God bless, much love, and peace out.
Saturday. Eagle Raceway is open for a full season of dirt track racing action every Saturday night. Don't miss the